It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. Ulike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
All right, it's the Pete Sousa Show. It is Friday. Hey, that's right. It is time for the weekends. When you're heading down the Jersey Shore today on I-95, make sure you crack the windows down. AC's not going to do it, but that summer breeze sure will. Goddamn, who sings Summer Breeze? And let's get you. No. And let's get you to Summer Breeze. Hold on. By Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts. There you go. Seals and Crofts. Come on. I should have known that. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics. And thinking about, it looks like Scotty's turned off today. We finally got something right around here. It is June the 27th. We are in a period of time where a lot of like the sensational sports and the events, the finals, the draft, NFL draft, obviously NBA playoffs. I mentioned the finals, NHL playoffs, all this, like the events outside of like baseball and the All-Star game and the WNBA, which is a lot of fun to follow. By the way, Sparks beat the Fever last night. So the Fever now really struggling without Caitlin Clark. That's a really super interesting situation to keep an eye on, but really nothing to report there. Other than my Sophie Cunningham t-shirt came in, dude. It's awesome, but I didn't want to wear it today. It'd kind of be like crowbarring it in. There's really no reason to wear it. And that shows how quickly the media cycle turns, right? Sophie Cunningham now is just, as she should be, the 6th, 7th woman for the Indiana Fever.
No, she's still way more than that.
Yeah, she is still way more than that. Scotty Swingler, by the way. On the Wheels of Steel today, we're going to talk with Scotty in the second segment, and a little bit in the first, of course. But second segment, we got a special one for you. The New York Times, if you haven't seen this week, top 100 movies of the 21st century. Opportunities for all of us to weigh in and pick our top 10. Anybody, me, you, anybody. And I picked my top 10, so did Scotty. We're going to share those for you, and it should be a lot of fun. I also wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Celtics and what's going on in the NBA, and finally catch our breath and talk a little bit with Cam Stewart about the Karen Reed trial. So Cam is coming up in a little bit. Oh, man, this drives me crazy. I know this isn't your fault. Oh, no. This is the Mike Hamilton and his – by the way, this is a great show on the Rogue Media Network, right?
It's one of our popular shows.
It's one of our most popular shows. It's called Bois, okay? And I'm not lying. Like, if you like King of the Hill, like, this is a show for you. Did you like King of the Hill?
It's not my thing.
No?
It is the #1 King of the Hill podcast, though.
It is?
Yeah, I think so.
In the world?
Yeah, I think so.
And actually, they actually had that guy on.
I'm going to come back there and fix the set.
No. You don't worry about it. Just show me where that picture is.
I don't know where Mike put it.
My poor brother has passed away. And Mike has put him away. All right, don't worry about it. So, yeah, they had the guy on. This is when I went on vacation, Scotty. The Bois podcast had the guy on who was murdered like a day later, right? Yeah, they did. The guy from the guy from King of the Hill, the voice actor, he was a guest on Bois on like a Sunday, and on a Monday afternoon he was dead. God bless him. But yeah, that's why we'll put this away for now. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA draft. Last night I watched the coverage. Yeah, it was funny. There was there was no Stephen A. Smith, and it was funny. Like, I didn't even want to bother like getting that in the weeds, like nerdy, like why isn't he on? Is it because of the backlash? No, that's not why. I'm sure he did the first day, and then it's about time the guy gets a chance to put his feet up. But the draft coverage was pretty cool. I appreciate what they're trying to do with it, making it sort of special into the second round. As the dust settled, there's a couple Big 12 guys who obviously I keep an eye on just because of my work covering the conference for ESPN and for the Big 12, the conference. Caleb Love, Corey Dickman's going to be happy. He's our boss. Caleb Love signed a contract with the Blazers. Chance McMillan signed a contract with the Golden State Warriors. Chance McMillan, obviously Texas Tech. These are guys who didn't get drafted in the second round. LJ Cryer is going to the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, that'll be fun. One guy who I thought was late first round potential at times when he was playing for Kansas State, and maybe a second rounder at least, but didn't get drafted, was Arthur Kaluma. He transferred to Texas, so he assigned a deal with the LA Lakers. Eric Dixon from Villanova led the nation in scoring, signed a two-way contract with the Lakers. Curtis Jones from Iowa State. Remember, Jones got hurt right before the season, or right before the tournament started, and wasn't able to play, and that really hurt Iowa State. He signed a deal with the Nuggets. And two guys, two bigs in the Big 12, who we spent a lot of time talking about on this show, most significantly, Norshad Omier. As of this morning, right now, 10 a.m., there is no deal for him in place yet. I mean, he'll sign a deal, but he has not. as of right now, as far as I could see. And also Coleman from Kansas State, Coleman Hawkins, calling by his first name. Coleman Hawkins has not signed a deal either that I could see. Remember, Coleman Hawkins might be the first ever of these kind of guys who everybody knew that he got $2 million, and there was a lot of pressure on him. And it was funny after that conversation yesterday with Shahanjay Araja about Texas Tech. I think that the pass rusher that they got to transfer from Stanford, I think they gave him like $2 to $4 million. So that's like Coleman Hawkins was one of the first ones where it was really out there. And I'm sure there were others I'm not thinking about now, but that number is going to be out there more and more. And I'm sure with the House settlement too, we're going to have a salary cap pretty much in college sports. It's going to be $20.5 million, at least for the first year coming up. And I'll be interested to see how those numbers get listed of these young athletes, and just because they're quote unquote amateurs, right? Which they're not if they're getting paid. But I guess for lack of a better term, I'm thinking about just young professional making a lot of money, like tennis players. We know how much they make. And I guess what they make is a lot off of earnings from winning tournaments, but also from sponsorships. So I'll be interested to see going forward what we know about the salaries of these guys. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics, of course, Crawford Austin Properties, Socorro Family Ford, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, First National Bank of Central Texas. We just re-upped with them. My man, the big guy, Dan Ingham, pushing his chips to the middle of the table, right? All in with the Pete Sousa Show. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If you want to take care of your money, you make sure you take it over to First National Bank of Central Texas, Dan Ingham. There's banks now. First National Bank of Central Texas is now they're not just in Central Texas, but that's how it goes, right? When you expand your footprint like that, they are slowly but surely going all over Texas. So that's pretty cool. One of the things about the draft that I thought about, a couple things, just thinking of draft history here. Some organizations never learn, okay? And this is what I'm talking about. I wanted to share this. Our show's only an hour, so sometimes I really feel crunched for time, but now we have a little bit more breathing room where I can get into, I wouldn't say long-form stories, but I have a great NBA draft story from when I was back working in Charlotte. And it's clear that this organization, the Charlotte, they were the Bobcats when I started working for them. But that organization, and I've always flirted and said, hey, I'm going to do a 10-part podcast about what that organization was like. The Charlotte Bobcats were a startup organization. The Hornets had left town. That city was bleeding, right? Bleeding for basketball. David Stern and the NBA did the right thing. They got another organization back in Charlotte. It was owned by Bob Johnson, the guy who owned BET. All the intentions and the motives were pure, but it was like any startup. We incurred losses. There were bad decisions made. The TV deal was a nightmare out of the gate. The city did not respond to the Bobcats the same way they did to the Hornets. The Bobcats began play in 2004. 16 years before that, the Charlotte Hornets started to play. They sold out every game at the Charlotte Coliseum. They broke an NBA record in the Charlotte Coliseum. That held like 22,000 people. It was a movement. Early pro basketball in North Carolina in the late 80s, right? The Charlotte Hornets were like a rock group around the city. Of course, they stunk, but they didn't care. People didn't care. They had NBA basketball. So the Bobcats are, the first iteration of the Bobcats on the floor is 2004. And we stunk. We had bungled, the organization had bungled the television deal. It was really actually hard to see the team because they were on a network that Bob Johnson had started called CSET. There was as much as we tried to do PR-wise and in the community, we had a tough time with goodwill with the city. And it's not like we had guys running around getting in trouble, but it was just there was not a real good taste in the mouths of fans. And the first draft that the Bobcats had, outside of the 2004 draft where they took Emeka Okafor number 1, in 2005, of course, North Carolina had won the national championship. And anybody that knows anything about college basketball, North Carolina, obviously the creme de la creme nationwide, especially then. and you think about it in North Carolina, that basketball team, that school, that is the state's school. I mean, Duke, and we'll talk about that in 1 second. You may have an idea where I'm going with this already. Duke is very important, and Duke's reputation and footprint has continued to expand. But North Carolina, the state school, right, that is still the monster in the state as far as college basketball, all the way back to like Phil Ford, right, Dean Smith, my man Scott Williams, Michael Jordan, the '82 title. Before that, Frank McGuire. North Carolina has just an amazing lineage and legacy and foothold in the history of college basketball. So who else would you draft if you're the Hornets going into your first official offseason on fumes, right? There was a deal. The Hornets had the 5th and the 13th pick. And there was a deal. They had a deal lined up where they could trade the 5th and the 13th pick for the 3rd pick. And that 3rd pick would be Chris Paul. So the Hornets, and Chris Paul was all the rage. He was a North Carolina guy too, from Winston-Salem, played at Wake Forest. And no. We don't want to take Chris Paul. We have an opportunity now to draft the 5th and the 13th pick. The 5th pick will be Raymond Felton. The 13th pick will be Sean May. Now, we've worked Sean May out once. This is what the Bobcats were saying. By the way, allegedly, I was not in the gym for this, but I was around for – that was, by the way, even 20 years ago. Like, when you would have a player in to work out, like let's say Joakim Noah comes in to work out in Charlotte, like it was a real workout. Like even top 5, top 10 picks were coming in and working out. Like Raymond Felton was the 5th pick. He came in and worked his ass off in a workout, right, with other members of the Hornets or the Bobcats and other draft prospects. Sean May, same thing. He came in, played with Charlie Villanueva from UConn. Villanueva worked his ass out, but the team was so hell-bent on North Carolina guys. What do? So they bring Sean May back. They're like, it's when you tell yourself a lie to convince yourself. Well, that's what they did. And I think it was more the marketing arm than anybody else. Bernie Bickerstaff and Ed Tapscott were on the basketball side. They were not thrilled about the direction that I think the marketing arm and the Bob Johnson, who's at the top of all of it, right, was like, look, man, Bob Johnson was not about to take he had no patience. He couldn't believe that owning an NBA organization involved losing money, which was happening fast and furious. So how do you stop it? Well, a PR move could help. Let's draft the 5th, and let's use the 5th and the 13th pick for Sean May and Raymond Felton, okay? That's what they do. Basically, from an NBA draft perspective, right, a basketball operations perspective, you draft Sean May and Raymond Felton, 2 North Carolina guys, basically to appease a fan base who really isn't even there. So you really – it's short money to think you're going to bring people to the table through that. This is the NBA. The famous line, my man Kenny Williamson, who was a scout for the Charlotte Hornets, once said in the ear of all the basketball operations people, and some people more important than that, this friends and family shit got to stop. And that was North Carolina guys getting taken 5th and 13th, kind of friends and family. All right, let's go turn the page. The Charlotte Hornets today. The organization still – look, I love that organization. It gave me my start. It gave me an opportunity when I got sober to come back and broadcast games on their digital network or do a pregame show, a live pregame show in arena on their digital network. I did radio, sideline reporting for the Hornets. I love the organization and some of the people there. Amazing still, right? But they don't learn. Like, look at the history books, right? I mean, you get Con Knippel, right? Who comes to town, right? Like, Con Knippel is just not the kind of guy who is going to change your franchise. But he's a Duke guy. You like him, Scotty?
No, I agree with you, Ryan.
Yeah, he agrees. So he's a Duke guy that you take at 5, right, who had no business. 4, who had no business getting taken 4th, okay? And then later in the draft, you take Liam McNeely. Now, I'm not going to say that Liam McNeely, it's not quite as bad as Sean May and Raymond Felton, but it is 2 white dudes getting drafted by the Hornets who shoot to me, that seems like a aesthetic move. Go ahead, Scotty.
Weren't the Hornets also the ones who took Frank Kaminsky?
Yes.
Like 6-7 seasons ago?
Yes.
Same deal.
Same deal.
Like, great college player.
Yes.
Not going to affect your NBA roster.
No. And so this another like move here that you can't try to appease the public with your NBA draft selections. You can't try to garner grace from fans through personnel moves. It does not work long term. It never does. It's a finite amount of time. Maybe you get a bump. It's the same thing like when the Sixers signed Allen Iverson in 2010. Everybody knew where that was going, right? I mean, AI comes back in the press conference. He's sobbing. It was a neat moment. But that organization was desperate. They just needed like a shot in the arm. It was actually a great move for everybody because everybody was on the same page. They know, hey, we're still going to suck, but AI is going to be here. It'll be fun for a little bit. We'll probably still can't avoid losing a ton of games. And that's what happened. So it's just interesting how we continue to see these teams, these organizations, they make the same mistakes. 20 years later, different people even still, right? Still making the same mistakes. One other story about the draft I wanted to say, because I thought about this with all the trades last night. And I'll make this kind of quick because we're up against it, but I won't rush it actually. When I was one of my last years doing PR in Charlotte, they sent me to the draft, right? So every team usually has a representative, right, to go to the draft, to kind of be there for everybody. You kind of escort the guys around. I got to find this dude. Brandon, let me see. I guess it was the 2008 NBA draft. So again, the Hornets, of course, we take a guy from North Carolina. So they send me to the draft, right? Who was the number one pick? I guess it was 2007. Yeah, it was 2007. Give me 1 second. God forbid our producer, Scotty, jump on this. But, hey, hold on for a second. He's over there smiling. Okay, 2008 NBA draft. Yes, this was the one. Okay, my apologies. So Brandon Wright, okay? The Hornets take Brandon Wright. And I'm at the draft. So I'm at the draft, and you have amazing access. I'm in the green room with these guys, and you wait, and you're communicating with the folks back at the home office. This was the infamous draft where Rachel Nichols was back at the arena in Charlotte, and she was waiting to talk to Michael Jordan, and he never talked to her, and she freaked out. She never went to the draft room. She was supposed to. But I'm on scene at Madison Square Garden. We take Brandon Wright. And the idea is, as a PR person, you take this guy through the media circuit, right? You walk them through. So I'm getting set to walk Brandon Wright through the media circuit, right? Down at the draft. It's like, and you saw it on TV, and it's more elaborate now than it used to be, but it was still pretty, there was still some traffic there. You had to go through, NBA radio, you do ESPN, there would be some local radio set up there, there'd be TV, there'd also be like headshots and all kinds of stuff. So we're getting ready to go through, and I get a call from my boss, and he's like, right now, Brandon Wright is wearing a Charlotte Bobcats hat, and I want you to keep that on him through this entire process, but at the conclusion of this process, he will be a Golden State Warrior. I'm like, okay, well, can I tell him that? No, you can't. So now I'm going through this whole, and I don't know if I'm on foot or horseback. I mean, all things being equal, I always say this in case you're watching for the first time. I'm 14 years sober, okay? The night before this draft in New York City, let's just say I was up till 5, 6 in the morning doing not sober things, okay, with one of my good buddies, Bart Smith. I think we went to the Gansevoort Hotel. We were on the roof. And boy, I was no ceilings for me, I can tell you that much. So I am like out of my mind still, like trying to figure out what side's up. And I'm going through this draft, and everybody knows Arthur Trish, who I see on Twitter a lot. Arthur was looking at me like, dude, you're walking this guy through here. Arthur was had a Hawks PR. He's like, you're not going to keep this guy. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, they just told me to walk him through. So I walk him through. We get in the green room. Now, mind you, I am a PR guy. I am not like a power broker. We go back to this green room, and who is there but the legendary David Falk? David Falk now is obviously Michael Jordan's agent. So he's friends with Michael Jordan. Falk knows me because he's seen me around Charlotte, and I actually knew him from, he doesn't know me at all. Don't get that wrong. He knows my face. I'm a tall guy, whatever. So he looks at me, and he points at Brandon Wright. Brandon Wright's right there. And he goes, you're not keeping him. You know that, right? And so Brandon Wright's like, yo, dude, he doesn't know me from Adam. He's like, what's going on over here? Am I getting traded or what? Finally, somebody with the goddamn head on their shoulders, Mark Broussard, God bless him, who still works for the NBA today, just came over and grabbed me. He's a PR guy. He's like, hey, Pete, I'm telling this guy what's going on. Like, he's like really on pins and needles here. So I was like, okay, fine. Eventually, Mark Broussard steps in, tells Brandon Wright that he's been traded. And I forget who the Hornets got. Honestly, if you couldn't tell, it was a total blur to me. But every time I see these poor bastards put a hat on and then I hear that their name gets drafted, I think of that story and get major, major PTSD. There were also some other components of it that I left out. But, yeah, that's another thing about, like, PR guys in the NBA. This is, like, a weird thing. I mean, I can tell you back then, I was working for the Sixers. I was making $44,000 a year, right? Okay? Like, whatever that is amount of money to you, it's about $1 million shy of what like the guy making the least amount on the team was making. So I always found that so odd. You're going to send this schmuck who makes $44,000, right, on the road. I would travel with the team. And, like, I'm out there, like, escorting these guys. I'm the point guy to this $1 billion or $5 million, $10 million, whatever you want to say, $20 million, however it's valued entity. And here I am walking around like, you know, I'm blind looking. I can't find the door. And they just like, and it's not even the guys that have their stuff together, right? They're only making like, this is back then, like 90, 80, 100 grand. And they're in charge of these, like, these amazing assets for these teams. And you know, I can remember one time, actually, I won't say this story because it involves somebody who's kind of close. But anyways, all I'll say is there was a lot of instances where, like, I saw a lot of PR people who are not qualified to do their job have to make, like, a lot of big decisions. Now, I saw a lot of really good PR people. B.J. Evans in Charlotte, amazing. He's now in Cleveland. Tim Donovan is like, he's like the godfather. He's like Michael Corleone to Pat Riley, still in Miami with the Heat. But there were a lot of people who just didn't know, like I say, if they were on foot or horseback, who were a conduit to, you know, major assets. And here I am trying to orchestrate media. So whatever. Thank God I wasn't working for, you know, the Sonics, and I wasn't ruining Kevin Durant's experience. And I just got to ruin Brandon Wright's. All right, the Pete Sousa Show continues after this. We're going to the movies with Scotty Swingler. New York Times, baby. Top 100 movies of the 21st century. We have our 10 apiece. And then, of course, Cam Stewart's coming up in segment 3. Stay with us.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Coversanal, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Sousa Show brought to you by Slovaceks. Rolls on. We're taking it to the movies. By the way, Jason Richardson was part of the deal that sent Brandon Walker out of town. I think, yeah, it was Jason Richardson, right? Yes. It was Brandon Wright, by the way. Sorry. So that was the deal that sent Brandon Wright to Golden State. Okay. Now let's talk about the New York Times and what's going on with they got a pretty cool thing going. 100 best movies of the 21st century. We are actually encouraged. I voted. I did my 10. Scotty did his 10 as well. And, of course, the New York Times, I guess voting is done. You can still do it. Voting ends July 1st at 11:59
Yeah, you got till July 1st to do
By
the
the
fan
way,
vote.
they just moved. They changed it. As of this morning, it was July 30th. So they extended it a day. How about that?
June 30th?
Yeah, June 30th. Thank you. Yeah, so, and just to give you a quick synopsis or some context, more than 500 directors, this is by the New York Times, they wrote this, more than 500 directors, actors, and other notable movie fans, including Julianne Moore, Mel Brooks, and Barry Jenkins, submitted their ballots for the best movies of the 21st century. Now it's your turn. And by the way, the list is long and distinguished when you look at the actors, like big-time actors. So it was movies of the 21st century, which, all right, Scotty, come on, which I screwed up.
Yeah, Pete sends me his initial list, and I think 3 of them were from the 21st century.
Dude, I was like, why don't they have Halloween?
He was like, why is it hard to vote for Jaws?
So I was doing like write-ins.
I texted him back, bro, most of your movies here are not from the 21st century.
So I had to quickly
learn to read.
Catch him up. Dude, I'm telling you, that's the story of my life. It's like, dude, follow directions. I don't know if it's the dyslexia or just that I'm like slow. I think you can always, the Bill Parcells quote, never discount stupid. It's always in there somewhere.
Yeah,
so keep that in mind. All right, let's see your list first, Scotty.
Mine?
Yeah, I want to see yours.
Well, do you want to see the New York Times first?
I guess. I mean, I want to see. They're not gonna, let's not do 100, right? It's just
no, we'll do the 10. So that you said all those celebrities voted, right? So
Yep.
these were the 10 all the celebrities picked. And I think it's a pretty good 10. There's some in here I've not seen. I have seen most of these.
Yeah.
Any in there stand out to you?
Yeah, The Social Network's on my list. Absolutely love it. And then 9, Spirited Away. 8, Get Out. Love it.
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, sorry. Yeah, I haven't seen it. 8, Get Out. Loved it. 7, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Never seen it. 6, No Country for Old Men, awesome.
Yeah, that
Moonlight,
movie's great.
never seen it. 4, In the Mood for Love, never seen it. 3, There Will Be Blood, loved it. 2, Mulholland Drive, never seen it. Parasite, loved it. Okay.
I want you to imagine this real quick.
Yeah.
So I told Zach Owen, we were talking about this today. Zach Owen show, by the way, on the Rogue Media Network.
Yeah.
Country Music Variety Hour.
Scotty's going to be performing next
I'm performing there
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I hope he knows I do not resemble a country musician in any way. By the way, I'm wearing a Blink 182 shirt today to work. So
just let it rip.
But Zach Owen asked me, so what movie did the New York Times have as number 1? I was like, Zach, I need you to listen to me. I said, it's a Korean film. But it's incredible, and you should watch it. He's like, I don't know. You got to be able to read to do that. I said, yeah, you got to be able to read.
Well, I've always had a feel, like, honestly, especially with all of our trouble now staying dialed in with anything, subtitles are good for me because it keeps me engaged.
Okay.
There's nowhere else to go. If you want to keep up with the movie,
Right.
you can't be going to another device.
That's one of the movies that will keep you engaged because you'll be on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Amazing movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Amazing.
All right,
amazing
Pete, here's
movie.
your 10. And you sent me these this morning.
Okay.
Talk us through it. By the
Okay.
way, I like your 10.
You do?
I do.
Thanks, bud.
It's different than my 10, but I like your
I
10.
got to pull mine up now because I can't see that shit. Hold on.
Do we need to get you some glasses, Pete?
Yes. Okay. So I have, and in no order, okay, Departed. I mean, I don't know that you can argue with that. A sleeper I have in there is Blue Jasmine. Just an unbelievable Woody Allen movie. Forget about what you think about Woody Allen. It was just, it blew me away. Sideways, same thing. I mean, all these movies, by the way, if you know kind of what I'm all about, like I'm a big, like, I just love good dialogue in a movie, like back and forth. I'm not a huge, like, action guy. The Social Network, we talked about that. Gone Girl, I thought was amazing. I really did. I was just captivated by that. All these movies, by the way, I think I saw in the theater. Yeah, all of them except for Sideways, and the one documentary. American Gangster, I mean, it speaks for itself. Training Day, Tour de Force by Denzel, might be one of my favorite of all time. Moneyball, same thing. You just can't take your eyes off the screen, off of Brad Pitt. And then also, for a movie that was based on a sports story to be so accurate and so tight, I just, that to me, I fell all over myself. I just love that movie. And then maybe one of the best movies of all time, dude. It won an Oscar, is OJ Made in America. I still will rewatch that today. I know that's kind of dark, but it's the most well-done documentary I've ever seen, and I have seen a lot of documentaries. So there you go.
It's a good list. I will tell you, I know, obviously we saw Social Network was in New York Times top 10. Gone Girl's on the 100. Moneyball's on the 100. Departed's on the 100. I was surprised Creed is not.
Yeah, Creed.
Creed is probably the second best Rocky film.
Well, now we don't have enough time to go into that.
I mean, but it probably is. I mean, I'm just in terms of quality, writing, storytelling, like Rocky is untouchable.
Yeah.
But of all the sequels, I think Creed is the best.
I think, I would disagree. I put Rocky 2, 3, and 4 before I would put Creed.
Zach Burke's making faces across the room. I would not, but that's okay. My point is,
4 is amazing.
It is, but I mean, like, I'm just saying all 4 before Creed just seems.
My point is, Creed. I thought Creed was a masterclass, so I'm glad it's on your list.
Can I tell you my favorite scene in Creed? And
Yes,
then
of
we'll move
course.
on. And
Of course.
I would behoove anybody to go to YouTube to watch it today. Although what you do after that with all the inspiration, I'm not responsible for. When Creed, Adonis Creed goes into the ring and they play Hail Mary by Tupac. The whole scene, like when he's warming up in the locker room before, and you
great.
just hear the time. And I know it's time to go out and take to the ring. I got goosebumps right
That's
now.
the kind of filmmaking that I'm saying Rocky 2 through 4 does not have. It's a great scene. It's a phenomenal scene.
It's unbelievable.
So I will tell you, I'm going to show my 10. Creed was high in my brain that did not make it. Social Network, Gone Girl, I considered as well. And you're going to learn a lot about what kind of movies I like when I show my list because in some ways I am exactly who you think I am. These are my 10. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, Rogue One is not a top 10 movie of the 21st century, but I'm a Star Wars guy.
Oh, yeah, this is your list.
And I had to put a Star Wars film in there.
Yeah.
My rules for myself in this list were I did not repeat directors. Otherwise, Chris Nolan would have 3 or 4. And I did not repeat franchises because all 3 Lord of the Rings movies would be in my top 10 if I repeated a franchise. I think those are like maybe the greatest accomplishment in film history. So I've got
I'm pulling your list up on
So
my
I've got
screen
Rogue
so I can see.
One. I've got Toy Story 3, which Toy Story was the first movie, Pete, I ever saw in a movie theater. It came out in 1995. I was 3 years old. Toy Story 3 came out my senior year of high school.
And
it's about a senior in high school going to college and leaving his toys behind. So Toy Story 3 was particularly resonant for me. I also just think it's
especially after seeing the first one. That's pretty cool.
I think it's also just a super, super great film. My sleeper pick here is Chronicle. Found footage, Josh Trank, superhero, dystopian kind of movie. Again, I don't know that I would actually argue it's a top 10 movie of the century, but for me, it was really a great theater experience, something I wish would make a list.
Talk to me about Django.
Yeah, so I'm in the minority here. Inglourious Bastards, I think, was like 14 on the New York Times list, and most people think that's Tarantino's best. I think Django's better. I think the performances in Django are unbelievable. It's my favorite story to follow. Like Tarantino's stories don't always kind of follow such a linear path as Django does. Samuel L. Jackson's incredible. I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio's best performance. Jamie Foxx is so winsome. Christoph Waltz. I mean, the whole cast is just
Christy's
killer.
dad, like that was his favorite movie.
I think
He
it's
used to
so
rewatch
good.
it all the time.
I think it's so good. I showed Kendall a scene from that movie before you got here.
Kendall is a young woman who probably should not be watching.
She said she's never
a
going
college
to watch
graduate,
any
though.
Tarantino movies after I showed her a very mild Django scene. Dune Part 2. Dune's my favorite book. I thought the movie was perfect. That's the best movie of last year. Avengers Endgame, I loved because I love that whole franchise, and it was a good ending. These 4 are the 4 that I actually think belong in anybody's top 10. Mad Max Fury Road was 11 on the New York Times list. It's a perfect action movie. It's perfect. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, perfect film. Gladiator and Interstellar for me are on the highest level. Those are 2 movies that I will rewatch endlessly. I think they're perfect. They take me to another place. Yeah. I was really glad Gladiator is a 2000 movie, not a 99 movie.
Yes.
So I could put it on this list.
Scotty, I walked out of Mad Max Fury Road.
What? Like before it ended?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I had a lot on my mind.
Well, that's okay. So,
but still, it's just not my kind of film. I probably need to see it again. But I
have one friend like you. I have one friend that there was a big group of us. It came out as I was graduating from Baylor, and a big group of us went to see it. And we all walked out, and all of us were like, that was freaking crazy. I got to go watch that again. And I had one friend that was like, I hated that.
Well,
you're not the only person.
Hate is a strong word. It just wasn't for me. I'd be lying if I said it was.
Okay.
I left Black Panther. I just switched movie theaters. I went to another movie. Yeah, I was just like, no, this isn't. Because there was a period of my life when I was just loving going to the movies. I'd just gotten sober, and it was everything to me. And if I got there and I wasn't connecting, I'd be like, no, this is. I mean, I was probably going through some of my own stuff. Yeah.
So I was a film and digital media guy at Baylor.
Yeah.
So in terms of like when I think of what you had to do in camera to create something for a film, Interstellar and Mad Max are kind of undefeated for me. Like the things they did on camera, like you can go watch behind all that stuff in Mad Max is real.
Yeah.
All of it. All the stunts, all the vehicles, all the explosions.
Zoe Kravitz is in it too.
It is such limited CG, and it's like you can tell. Like it's beautiful. And I don't think there's a better action set piece than the last. It's like the last half of that movie. It's just one action set piece that just.
It was my first day on the news the next day. First day ever in Monroe, Louisiana. So it was a Sunday afternoon. I was nervous. So I was just like, I got to get out of here because I knew the next day I wouldn't be able to read the news. All right, Interstellar, by the way.
Yeah.
So you had a great take on this yesterday. Talk to me a little bit about what Interstellar meant to you and Matthew McConaughey's role in that.
I'm trying to remember what I said yesterday.
Do you remember what you said?
Oh, I geeked about the black hole thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, no. At the end of the day, you said And it's Matthew McConaughey going to
yeah.
space.
Well, I geeked about, like, Interstellar was a science fiction movie that a theoretical physicist created. And he wanted everything in the movie to be plausible. The black hole model they use in the film, 5 or 6 years later when we got our first ever image of a black hole, looks exactly like the model in Interstellar because it was so scientifically created. It's super cool. And then, I said to you, and heck, it's my guy. It's Matthew McConaughey in space. Like, what more do you want? Like,
you can't beat
You can't top that.
No, you can't.
The Minister of Culture at the University of Texas is flying a rocket ship.
That's funny how McConaughey sort of gets a pass from like Baylor fans. You know?
Anybody who's from Texas loves him. It's not because he's a UT guy. Or it's not because I'm from Baylor. It's like he is a Texan that doesn't embarrass me with his perspectives or his appearances. He's mega talented. And he's just funny and seems like a genuinely like I would want to go grab a beer with him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? A lot of celebrities, it's like, would you go get a beer with? I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, that guy does not sound.
Honestly, I think that's as he tells it. That's kind of how he got his expanded role in Dazed and Confused. Like, I think they were filming. Maybe they were filming in Austin. This is loosely based on a story that I definitely have heard him tell.
Yeah.
And he got to be. They were out drinking, and he was having beers with the guy who was the showrunner. And
Pete, you got to look for the green lights. Driving down a road.
Wasn't that the name of his book?
That's right. Green lights. Everywhere you go in life, there's either red lights, yellow lights, or green lights. And I just got a beer with those guys, and I saw a green light. And if you drive through the green lights, instead of hesitating and slowing down at the green lights, you find your destination instead of getting rear-ended.
That's very good. Scotty, that's very good, dude. That's almost better than your guy from Hubbard.
Oh, my gosh. We don't need to do that.
Hey, how's the weather in Hubbard this weekend?
Well, in Hubbard, Texas, we have 3 kinds of weather. Hot, warm, and rainy. It's not raining enough this year. You know, we used to have a lot more help around here, Pete. Back in my day.
Cam Stewart is coming up next. He is going to be bringing the earth, wind, and fire. And also, I got some questions as it pertains to Boston. What the hell's going on with the Celtics? And we never got to wrap up our Karen Reed talk on Monday. Love Cam. Pumped he's joining us. Stay with us, the Pete Sousa Show on a Friday. We'll be right back.
Did you know nearly all stock price changes of 10% or more result from a single news headline? These news catalysts create trading opportunities every day. All you need is a little help to reach out and take them. It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
OsleyMD.com.
I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
OsleyMD.com.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit internxt.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress. It's like a wearable hug for your nervous system that helps you calm down and feel better. The Apollo wearable will send gentle vibrations to your body, like a song you can feel instead of hear. You feel better, you sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Elevate your experience with Grenco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grenco Science. Take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at grencoscience.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Angles 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit angles90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
The Pete Sousa Show. Who else but Cam Stewart? Cam, man, there's a lot going on for you right now.
A lot. I'm surprised you didn't bring me on for this last segment.
Well,
talking movies, I think I would douche it up quite a bit. So
give us your 10, Cam.
I have not done this yet. I don't know the link to this. No Country for Old Men would probably be number one.
Really?
Yeah.
How about Cam yesterday, dude? He was feeling it on his show.
Damn it.
Hold on. I want you to hear
We
this.
like having our fans shell out the most money for tickets in Major League Baseball, sell you on this great experience of a ballpark and the beer and the hot dogs, and then give you 2 of these. Go fuck yourself, Red Sox fans. Oh, you think you've got a good team? Ha! Wait till you hear how we're going to spin this one.
You got to listen to the Cam Show.
That is music bed in the background?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I literally was recording that on my phone yesterday because you were on such a heater. So make sure you watch the Cam Show. It's coming up after us. The dude is very compelling, to say the least, and also he's informed. First of all, you got your Hartford Whalers cap on, so props to you. I know we're going to talk about Boston sports, but I was talking yesterday around town here in Central Texas. There is more hype around this Baylor football season than I can remember, more so than after they won the Sugar Bowl.
I think that's right. I was thinking about this last week. I think there is more hype. So 2022, after they won the Sugar Bowl, they were preseason ranked number 10.
Yeah.
And it was kind of this weird thing where we were still kind of living in the shadow of the basketball national championship too. Like, not that there wasn't hype to that, but this feels like, all right, it's been a lean couple years here. You know, football is coming off half of one good season in the last 4 years. Basketball isn't, stripped down for parts, but it's not going in the right direction right now. So it's like people are ready for Baylor to win. It's the first time you've felt good about your quarterback in a long time, including 2021 and 2022. I think there were still a lot of question marks around Bohannon and I almost said Charlie Brewer, Blake Shapen going into the 22 season. So that's probably the biggest thing, Pete, is that it feels like you've got the best quarterback you've had in almost a decade here.
Is Sawyer Robertson a legitimate Heisman candidate?
Legitimate dark horse Heisman candidate. How about that?
Okay.
Like, yeah. So I think I've thought about this a lot in the offseason of like what numbers he needs to hit to be a real Heisman candidate. and like, 35 to 40 touchdowns is probably the number. And I don't think that's impossible for him. Like, I think he can get to that. Obviously in a regular season, that's 3.25 touchdowns a game to get to 40, which I think he can get near that for a whole season. I really think he's that good. I think he's in that kind of an offense. I mean, there was a stretch of most of last year where you were just writing it down in Sharpie. Sawyer Robertson, 3 touchdown passes today, right? Yeah. And he was still kind of getting in a rhythm. So, yes, I don't think he's going to win it. I'm not going to sit here and put any money on it, but he's going to be one of, I think, if it all goes well, one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the country, and that gets you in the conversation.
Exciting times. Okay, let's turn the page. What does the rest of Karen Reed's life look like?
That's a good one, Pete. That is a good one. I mean, she is kind of a celebrity. So it would have been so much easier for me to say what it was going to be 20 years ago, and that would be the reality TV circuit. You know what I mean? Like, she would just be on Big Brother and Survivor, and actually she'd probably be the Bachelorette. She's kind of right between the Bachelorette and Golden Bachelorette, right?
Dude.
Like, I mean, that would print money. I mean, she would do something like that. I'll bet she does a podcast. Okay. How about that? She does a podcast. There's going to be more documentaries made. And I think she's going to live off this a lot. And what's funny about it is she doesn't have to. Like, she's clearly very smart. She was very successful in her career before this all happened. But she's a star, man. And now she is a star. I think she's going to live off that quite a bit. I think she's probably banging her lawyer and will do some sort of podcast, reality TV circuit combo.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you. Like, I don't think, like, we're not talking about celebrity. What's up?
I'm telling her not to get pulled over. That's probably not a great thing for the rest of your life. I would say in that area. Maybe move to California or something.
Well, and that's a very good point. But I think that she will be reality. Remaining in the public eye. I don't think I think she is too smart to be like, you're not going to see her like celebrity boxing or anything like that. Like, I don't think she'll bottom. I hope she doesn't bottom out.
That would be great. Yeah.
She had too much of a career before this. Well, when you see stuff now that's out there that says, and I've seen some going into the weeds, some conspiracy stuff like, these jurors were like, free Karen Reed supporters. If you see the jury now, like, going out front, right, doing media interviews and stuff. Do you put anything like any stock into that? Like, do you believe that is all possibility? Like, because I always go back to, we were just talking about the best documentaries of all time, the OJ case, where people felt like it was their rite of passage to let OJ off because of years of sinister behavior by the LAPD. With Karen Reed, it's almost the same thing. We have years of whatever with Boston PD, and maybe there's another instance of that here. So do you buy into that at all? Like, that this is a jury with a job to do inside their heads?
I mean, yeah, to some extent, right? Like, I didn't think there was any way that she was just going to be found guilty. I thought it would have been a hung jury. This case, at least that we've seen in the public. But yeah, I think there's definitely some of that there. And I'll go back to when I was back home last summer, man. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't drive in my car listening to sports talk radio, family parties with a bunch of 60-year-olds, a supermarket, nowhere without talking about this case. Everybody's got an opinion on this case. And the Dedham court was an absolute friggin' madhouse every time she was there. So all that to say, like, there's no way to not get, I don't know, to be totally not privy to this case, right? There's no way to not have kind of a bias here. Everybody's got an opinion. It was probably the same way with the OJ case, a little bit before my time. But I think there's no way that there's not some bias in that jury. And yeah, I hope that there's not something in 20 years where one of the jurors says, yeah, we knew she was probably guilty, but we needed to prove a point, like some of those OJ jurors did, like on camera, which was just horrifying. But I do think there's just no way that there's not some sort of bias there.
What, for you, like, was justice served?
Well, no, because we still don't know what happened. So to me, that's not justice. I mean, it is a sense of justice that I don't think Karen Read did it. So I think or we don't have the evidence to show that Karen Read did it. And in this country, that means you don't get put in prison. So I think
I understand that from a court and a legal perspective.
Yeah.
But then what the hell happened?
That's the thing.
And
we've talked about it on the show.
What the hell happened? Did those guys drag him in there, beat the shit out of him with their dog, eating him up, and then leave him for dead in the snow? Like, did that happen?
I mean, that's what I think the Karen Read people think, right? Karen Read and her team. I think that's.
I don't believe that's what
they
happened.
think. And we've talked about this before, right? Of like, it's a house full of cops. Like, they could have done so many other things to cover this up if they wanted to kill this guy. Not just frame his girlfriend, who most of them didn't like that. It's just, there's too much there. But again, man, the Google searches and all that, the butt dials, it's just really, really fishy. I just then think, with a bunch of cops in that house, if they wanted to do this, they could have. I mean, they could have just said, "Hey, he never came to the door," which is basically what they did say, right? He never came to the door. He might have wandered off in the woods. There's a railroad back there. Who knows? And they could have just had him on a railroad track and say, "Oh, he was drunk and he passed out and it's a tragic accident." But instead, they tried to frame Karen Read. It's just, I don't know. There's just a lot. There's still a lot of questions. So to me, we have not hit peak justice yet, Pete. We have not hit it. We have hit some sort of American justice by the fact that she's not in jail because we don't have the evidence to put her in jail. But there's too many questions for me to say, hell yeah, justice.
There's one last thing, and we'll let you go after this because you got a busy show. We'll get to the Celtics another time.
Yeah, it's not that busy.
Karen Read making out with the cop is probably the most underreported part of this story. Like, if you watch a 2-hour documentary on this, let's say there's, and I'm not, this isn't a for instance, it's true. If you watch the Dateline that was up last week, they get into it, right? They talk about how she made out with this guy. If you watch the 2020, they don't even put that part in there. That is a major part, if nothing else less for the entertainment value of it, that she was flirting with this guy and made out with him. Yeah. And he was at the bar the night that John died and texted her like
like you up question mark. Yeah, I would say, like, if you go into any other like true crime story, because I know you follow a bit of those, I follow a bit of those. That is a motive. Like, you know what I mean? That gets pieced together as a motive in a lot of these cases. Yes. And like, I'm not saying, oh my God, they flirted, so they must have colluded to kill him. But like, that is seen as a motive and brought in for questioning in a ton of other cases. But I don't know if it's because he's another cop or what, but like, that would absolutely, in a lot of cases, constitute something of a motive from the Karen Read side of things. Oh, I don't know. It is bizarre.
Yeah,
it was a cringy moment in court, by the way.
But, and I know her and John were married and whatever, but it says to me, like, her character, that's kind of like suspect, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's plenty in here. Yeah.
And it's probably like she's not feeling the love from John, so she's got to go somewhere else to drum it up. It's like, come on, Karen, right?
I was embarrassed of that. I was embarrassed of that whole thing. I didn't even want to screw him. I really didn't. I was just trying to make John mad. Did we just hear a bunch of that? That was such a cringy moment in the HBO thing too.
Do you find her a sympathetic figure?
No.
I don't. I'm wondering why all these other people do.
No. And you know what's actually funny about that is, like, I lean on a ton of what I've seen in sports over the years to come to that conclusion of, like, does she deserve to be in jail? I don't think so. I don't think you have enough against her, and I'm glad that she's not in jail for that reason. But sympathetic? No. I don't think she's very likable. She's taken this whole opportunity to become a celebrity, like taking selfies with people, signing autographs, you know, inviting some media members out for dinner. Like, to me, that's not how to handle this. And it becomes the Karen Reed trial and not the John O'Keefe trial. And so I don't sympathize. No, I'm glad she's not in jail again because of this, but I don't think she's a very likable figure. And therefore I'm not too sympathetic. Her life's going to go on. Like, she's free, and she's going to get all the publicity that she sought out, whether it's good or bad. She sought out a ton of publicity as this trial went on. I know she didn't ask to be a part of this trial, but clearly she hammed it up quite a bit. Like, you and I could both agree on that. She loved having the cameras in her faces quite a bit.
This summer, is she Martha's Vineyard, Newport, Rhode Island, Cape Cod? Where is she?
I mean, she can afford Nantucket at this point. Yeah, maybe she gets away. Maybe she gets way down to Newport, which is like an hour from Boston. Maybe. But yeah, I think she's an island girl for the summer. Probably keep it to herself.
She's got to get. The one thing we'll learn about
her and the lawyer get a place in Nantucket.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit. She's got to get out of that area. If she stays in that area, she's got major league balls.
Maybe that's what she thinks she has. You know, maybe she thinks she's got major league balls. But yes, she should. If I were her, I wouldn't even live in Massachusetts anymore.
It's like OJ staying in Brentwood.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I might even leave the country if I was her, just to get away from it. But she kind of loves it. But then again, you can't go out and have 10 drinks and drive anymore, Karen. Like, they're gonna get you. They're gonna throw the book at you. You know what I mean? You can't make a misstep in Canton anymore.
The stakes have raised.
I mean, yeah.
All right, Cam Stewart, you're the best, dude. Check him out on the Cam Show. I really was like, we were so sped up on Monday. I had to talk to you about this trial. So I appreciate your time, dude.
Hey, I appreciate you having me as always, Peter.
All right, the Cam Stewart Show. Check him out. That is coming up here shortly. Actually, it's just about to start. So there you go. Cam giving us some of his time on a busy day. We will be back on Monday. We can't wait. Scotty and I are headed to Dallas FC on Saturday. Scotty, let's see.
Let's say the name correctly if you're going to go. It's FC Dallas, baby.
Well, let's see one thing. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
FC Dallas line.
Yeah, they're having a rough season.
They are.
Yeah, it's been a rough season.
All right, so let's see. Do they have odds on this, right?
Probably.
So
I got out of sports gambling recently.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would know already.
There's no odds right now, but we'll have
Who
some
are they
odds.
playing? Remind me.
I forget, dude. They play San Diego.
Ooh.
Who's going to win?
Dallas will win.
Really?
But I bet the odds are for a draw.
Hold on. Really?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see. San Diego FC. Let me see if there's a betting line. I'm so bad at this stuff. Hold on.
Bear the Truth says they'll pull it out Saturday. That's right.
Okay. So it's plus. So Dallas is plus a goal, plus half a goal. So they're plus 0.5. Okay. And the money line is plus 205. So I'm going FC Dallas. Let's go.
You're gonna tip me on this.
Don't. I'm not trying to get you at it. You know? Stay over there. All right, you can have a beer and I'll bet on the game. And
there we go.
We'll stay that way. We won't cross over.
Yeah.
All right, Pete Sousa Show. We'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Oh, my outro video wasn't ready. Here we go. Peace out.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.